Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Run. This is your Manchester United transfer news. Sesko bid. Obviously that's huge news. Obviously, we never knew how long that was gonna take. Surprisingly, very quick. Also, if we do get Sesko there on the line, who should we go for? Goalkeeper and midfielder. And also, people are saying, should we be spending a lot of money on one player, whereas we should be going for both goalkeeper and midfielder? I'll talk about that as well and what I think about it. And obviously, certain clubs looking at Harry Maguire, and obviously, he's rejected it. Obviously, he said he wanted to stay, and apparently, see out the rest of his career at Manchester United, which is obviously a bold statement. So yeah, I mean, quiet day, but obviously, with a quiet day of news, with obviously a big one, with obviously Sesko bid. So obviously this is coming from obviously David Ornstein. Sesko, Manchester United bid Sesko 85 million euros. So basically 74 million pounds, including add-ons without the release clause. Whereas Newcastle, I also forgot to mention, they also bid it second time round. Our bid for him was 5 million less. So, it's just about waiting for Sesko. I mean, this deal is a bit weird because I don't know when's the last time, I don't remember a player that we signed where, we would go for him, whether it was more than one or more than two clubs that were interested in the same player that, their bids were going in and all you had to wait was for the players' agreement on who he wanted to join. So, with Sesko, I mean, all you have to do is wait, but obviously it is frustrating because, you want that answer, right now, And initially, obviously, Newcastle bidding twice. I mean, you're almost looking at, United thinking, well, they're bidding twice. Maybe Leipzig will accept it. You never know. Maybe Sesko might, despite maybe he has some interest of United, he might go there. So, United didn't do the waiting game. They put a bid in, and obviously all we have to wait for is an agreement. So I think obviously look, obviously it's huge. It's obviously huge. That we got the bid. All we have to wait for is the agreement between the players. So I don't know how long that's gonna take, but I did say last week that it's probably might be next week that we might get huge news, and we did get huge news. So, but I mean this is the question. I mean, knowing Newcastle bidding twice, their first bid was rejected because they wanted more add-ons and a release a sell-on clause. They bid again 90 million euros. And you must be thinking to yourself, maybe United pushed them into making a bid. So, maybe that's why Newcastle, maybe he hasn't announced saying who he wants to join because maybe he does want to go to United. So maybe that's why he hasn't, said, okay, fine, I want Newcastle. And then obviously you could have got and here we go. But obviously we haven't got that. And we haven't even heard from Sesko what he wants. So, you looking at those, you probably might say, you know what, he's probably wants to come to United because probably he's waiting for the United bid until that came now. And obviously, you never know. Tomorrow we might get get what he wants. Who he wants to join. So obviously we made the bid in. So but yeah, obviously huge news. You want obviously these kind of news to be good and everything. Obviously, my question is that how did we not, that how were we not that quick when it came to Mbeumo? Because, I said this before, it took Mbeumo 2 months. So getting this Sesko deal on the line, it's almost as if, it's like we a certain club it's almost like we needed another team to push us into negotiations. I mean, I don't know what that was about, but I mean, the only reason we got that Mbeumo deal on the line was because apparently Newcastle thought, you know what, we're going for West Ham, so that meant probably, you know what, Brentford might not want to sell both their star players. So, you know, that's why I probably pushed United for Mboma, and obviously they got the deal done. Maybe it's the same with Sesko, you know, obviously they're interested with him, so we're interested as well. And obviously, you know, I think obviously to see obviously Newcastle, they pushed us before, they're pushing us right now for Sesko. So, you know, I think it's like it's stupid, but at the same time you're glad, because why do you need another team to push you into getting the player that you want? So, you know, but then again you got Ineos and their team full of prats. So, you know. But anyway, I did say who's next, but obviously I was linking to this Sesko. So I've been hearing some people saying, "Oh, we shouldn't spend that much money on someone who's inexperienced, 22 years old, you know, a learner driver, or you know, someone who isn't Premier League proven." And then people started saying, "You know what? Why don't we get someone who's why don't we get a goalkeeper and a midfielder?" Fine, fair enough, goalkeeper, because obviously there's Martinez and there's obviously Donnarumma, which apparently is going for 30 million. Um, but I've been obviously hearing that obviously, you know, we should go with Bob. But then as soon as you mention midfielder, knowing most United fans, and I've said this so many times, and it's so tiring to the fact that why is it such a regular thing when you know it's unrealistic? When they say midfielder, you know who comes to spring. You know who comes to mind. It's Baleba. And then I was thinking to myself, and I started laughing. I'm thinking to myself, United don't want to spend 90 million on a striker, on a player, but you want to spend 90 million or more on Baleba. How does that make sense? What Baleba? Look, probably what Baleba. Maybe midfielder is more important than striker. Who knows? Maybe obviously Baleba has the edge because he's Premier League proven, but you know, I think obviously like it's stupid. For you guys to say, "Oh, let's not go with Sesko because he costs too much," but no, when it comes to Baleba, you guys have no hesitation. I mean, and people say, "Oh, but he's not gonna cost that much." Look who you're dealing with. You're dealing with Brighton. Look, you know, don't forget as well. How much did Caicedo go for? At one point, he went for the. He brought the British transfer record, you know, until Declan Rice came along. Baleba was that replacement for Caicedo, and people saying, I don't know how people would fare it, but who was better at the time at Brighton, Caicedo or Baleba? Look, that's up to you, but you know, you don't think Brighton are gonna put a lot of money for him? Of course. And don't forget as well, if he's that such a great player, why aren't clubs looking at him? Because he's expensive. You don't think Chelsea would go for him? Because he's young and that's what they all love, buying young kids. You don't think someone like Newcastle will get him? You don't think I don't know, bloody before once you could probably say Baleba, obviously different types of players, you know. So please don't say, "Oh, let's go with Baleba," because he's Premier League proven and he's so great. Yeah, but also he's expensive, so you know. But anyway, if we do get Sesko and obviously we get the here we go. What's next? Do we go for a goalkeeper? Do we go midfielder? Look, judging by, you know, obviously pre-season, you probably say midfielder, but obviously I think in terms of going to the season against Arsenal and obviously City and Chelsea being in our first 5 games, you probably want a you probably want a goalkeeper, because buying there, I mean, obviously seeing from him, I thought maybe, you know what, pre-season you might do something. I don't feel confident. Anana, again, you guys know. So you guys really want a goalkeeper that is world class, and you know that isn't, you know, that makes so many mistakes than Anana buying this. So you know, but look, that's why Donnarumma is there as a shortlist. Obviously, it's rumours, but obviously Manchester United are obviously interested in him. There's obviously Emi Martinez, but we haven't heard anything from him. So, obviously midfielder. I mean, I said Baleba again, unrealistic. There's him mode again. It's not unrealistic, but it's expensive. Um, I mean, we did have previous midfielders like Richard Rios or um, there was another midfielder. Um, no, I don't think I remember. Oh yeah, I did forget Lamens as goalkeeper. So, you know, um, but yeah, I mean, look. Obviously, we're not linked for him. But if I went in a midfielder, I'd say Palacios. But we're obviously not linked with him, so obviously it's irrelevant. But who do you go for? I mean, look, preseason looking at them, you'd probably say midfielder. Going into the season, you'd want a world class keeper because defense is fine. I don't think we even have a problem with defense unless we you know, um, get in trouble on the counter. Last season wasn't the case. It was attacking wise. Hopefully, is it this season? Um, but apart from goalkeeper, it's midfielder because you don't know what's the right midfielder. Signing in Boma, where you gonna play Bruno? Of course, you're gonna have to play him because he's the captain and he's Bruno and he's our best player. So obviously, where's that gonna be? Our position in the eight. Where does that leave Menu? On the bench. Where do you leave Ugarte? Probably on the bench. Or probably might put Casemiro. And that's where it's like, I mean, that's where it's like you want a midfielder, but you want the right type of midfielder. So, but I mean, it's obviously annoying because we need Sesko deal over the line, but who do you get? Do you get a midfielder or a goalkeeper? And I'll tell you something. I think Sesko will probably be our last signing before the summer transfer window. I don't think we're getting a goalkeeper. I don't think we're going to get a midfielder. I hold my hands up if they shot me or whatever, but I don't see that likely. So, but it'll be great to see either a midfielder or a goalkeeper as well, but apart from that, I don't really see that coming. What do I prefer? I'd probably say goalkeeper. I mean, then again, I myself is a goalkeeper, but I mean, I've seen Onana, make mistakes, and it's absolutely annoyed me to a level that seeing him do mistakes is almost like I have a possibility in going back to professional football, which obviously isn't the case, but the amount of mistakes he does is like, bro, I could do better than you, this and that. For those that are not even keepers, you probably might do better because it's like basic keeping, but But anyway, obviously Maguire. Just trying to see if there's any news before I go on the Maguire one. Nope. Son leaving Tottenham. Apart from that. No, nothing. So yeah, Maguire. So apparently he had interest from clubs, apparently Premier League clubs and around in Europe. And obviously declined. Saying he wants to stay at United. Not only that, he wants to stay. He wants to see out his career at United. So, obviously he was extended an extra year contract, but obviously him impressing Amarim, and obviously, how he became, a flop to somehow building himself to become an important player at United. I mean, respect. I mean, if you want someone as an example of mental health and how to get through it, it's Harry Maguire for you. I mean, this guy was the same guy who was getting abused. I'll take that out, including me myself. But obviously at the time it was right. But then you see him from where he is now, from where he was before to where he is now. Don't forget, I mean, what greatest moment he ever did for United was probably Leon. But, obviously it says Maguire's 190,000 week deal expires at the end of the forthcoming season, so obviously at the end of this season. No talks have yet taken place over extending Maguire's contract, but messages to keep interested parties to be believed to have united. Um, they're keen on having him. So, you know, look, I mean, would you keep? Look, I mean, we kept Tom Heaton. I mean, look, obviously when Tom Heaton came back, I think he was 38, 37. I mean, had no role, but when we signed Ronaldo, it wasn't like he was gonna stay at United. Of course, he was probably might have gone, I don't know, America or Saudi at the time, But obviously, it was short, and obviously, it didn't turn well. But with Maguire, look, I'd keep him because not because of wages or whatever, because of what he brings, leadership, experience. Could also help the youth as well that are upcoming, like Aiden Heaven, Yoro, Fredrickson, Kukoni, and many others as well. So, but he's a great player. I mean, respect him as always. But I don't really see this as a problem. I mean, when Amrin extended a contract, it was like, was that the right thing? Because at the time he was playing well, and then it was almost like he's doing so well. You know what? Let's extend the contract. But seeing him doing it afterwards, obviously been a huge impact on the team in terms of defense, and obviously for him to play striker for us. So obviously he's great. And I don't see why he can't get a contract. The only problem I'd say with Maguire is, I think there have been times in games where, not showing glimpses of his, flop pass, but, there have been times where, he doesn't have to be striker all the time. Because don't forget as well, whenever he's up front, it's almost like leaving, it's almost like you're playing a back two, and it's almost like, you're leaving so much space, and, you're overloading so much attack. What if the other team decides to counter and everything? So, and obviously wage as well, but apart from that, I have no interest. He's a great player, great athlete and everything. And yeah, that's about it. Not a problem, to be honest, but and obviously he's 33 or something, good squad depth as well. Probably he could be a starter for us, obviously being with Martinez being injured. It could probably be him, Yorin de Ligt against Arsenal. So, you probably might not say, he's a bench player. You might as well say he's a star because, obviously if Martinez is injured, then that gives way for him to go through the team. So, But anyway, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. What's today's date? I mean, I believe we're playing Fiorentina on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So, but yeah, last preseason game, and let me check. Oh yeah, 10 days from obviously the Premier League. So excited. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we'll get more Sesko deal tomorrow or whatever. But that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. See you on the next one.